In a world that's ever-changing, Europe finds itself at a crossroads. The headlines scream about decline, crisis, and losing the race to economic giants like the United States and China. But is there more to this story than meets the eye? Welcome to Living History. Our story begins in the ashes of World War II. Europe lay devastated, its economies in ruins. The continent was divided, both ideologically and physically, between the East and the West. The war had left a legacy of destruction, with cities reduced to rubble and economies in shambles. The need for reconstruction was dire, and a path to recovery seemed elusive. But a ray of hope emerged from across the Atlantic. The Marshall Plan. The United States, recognizing the need for economic recovery in order to avoid the mistakes of the Treaty of Versailles that followed World War I, and provided massive financial assistance to Western Europe. This assistance was not just about rebuilding physical infrastructure, but also about kickstarting economic growth and stability. The spirit of cooperation took root with the founding of the European Coal and Steel Community in 1951. This marked the first step towards economic integration, and eventually led to the formation of the European Economic Community, or the EEC, in 1957. The EEC had an ambitious vision: the elimination of trade barriers and the creation of a common market. It was about fostering economic interdependence among member states, a crucial step in ensuring lasting peace and prosperity in a war-ravaged continent. The result? A post-war economic boom, often referred to as the economic miracle or the 30 Glorieuses in French, meaning the 30 glorious years. Western Europe's economies surged and the living standards improved dramatically. The scars of war were healing and the continent was on the path to recovery. Fast forward to 1989, a historic moment: the fall of the Berlin Wall. The Iron Curtain crumbled, and Eastern European countries yearned for the prosperity of the West. This reunification of Germany marked the symbolic end of the Cold War and the beginning of a new era of possibilities for the continent. The European project was expanding, and the vision of a united Europe seemed within reach. By the mid-1990s, Europe seemed to be an unstoppable economic force. The single market was in full swing, and the euro, a common currency, was on the horizon. People even talked about an impending economic clash between the European Union and the United States. Europe was no longer just recovering. It was thriving and competing on the global stage. But then we see this graph: GDP per capita compared to the United States, a stark divergence since 1995. The question is, why? To grasp the whole picture, we need to dissect GDP. It's not just a number, it's the sum of people working, the hours they put in, and their productivity. European workers tend to clock in 15 to 25% fewer hours than their American counterparts. It's a conscious choice for a better work-life balance. This choice reflects a different societal and cultural approach to work and leisure. Remarkably, if Europeans worked as much as Americans, some European countries, such as Germany and the Netherlands, would surpass the US in GDP per capita. So what's causing the real concern? Enter the digital revolution of the 1990s. Europe had to make a choice: reduce wages or invest in creativity, innovation, and education. This marked the birth of the knowledge economy, and the EU's Lisbon strategy launched in 2000, aiming to transform Europe. It was about raising R&D spending, investing in digital infrastructure, and nurturing a skilled workforce. Europe recognized that the future lay in harnessing the power of technology and knowledge. However, Europe started late in the digital race. Silicon Valley had a head start, and American business leaders were digital natives. The pioneering tech companies were American, and they dominated the global tech landscape. Europe was playing catch-up in an increasingly digital world. What's more, Europe's labor markets posed challenges. High youth unemployment and an aging population slowed down the spread of new ideas. The digital revolution demanded a dynamic workforce, but Europe faced structural constraints that hindered its ability to adapt quickly. Fast forward to the 2008 financial crisis, the 2011 Greek financial crisis, and the subsequent 2015 eurozone crisis. These economic shocks had a profound impact on Europe, shaking the continent to its core. Government budgets were mercilessly slashed. Faith in Germany and France, the dominant powers of the EU, was undermined, and investment across the bloc plummeted as nations grappled with these crises. The scars of these turbulent times are still evident today, with the process of recovery having proven to be slow and uneven. Once again, Europe found itself in the throes of economic instability, and the pursuit of sustained growth became an elusive goal. So, where does Europe stand today? We can categorize European countries into 4 groups based on productivity and growth. Southern Europe. Italy and Greece serve as prominent examples in this category. Italy faces challenges such as a low birth rate and a significant youth exodus, while Greece has grappled with both demographic issues and economic woes, exacerbated by the 2008 financial crisis. Additionally, both countries have seen the rise of populist movements and challenges to liberal democratic norms. Central and Eastern Europe. Hungary and Poland are notable examples in this region. These countries have experienced impressive economic growth, but also confront demographic issues, including aging populations and emigration. Moreover, they have witnessed shifts towards illiberal democracies, with leaders in both countries challenging the EU's liberal democratic values and institutions. Northern Europe. Sweden, Denmark, and the Netherlands are often cited as success stories in terms of adapting to the knowledge economy and maintaining high levels of investment in innovation and technology. Immigration has played a significant role in these countries, helping to address labor shortages and demographic challenges. These nations generally align more closely with liberal democratic values and institutions. Finally, there is the center, France and Germany. France, with its relatively healthy demographics but high levels of public debt, represents a unique case. Bureaucratic hurdles and a sometimes rigid labor market have posed challenges to its economic growth and innovation potential. Germany, as Europe's traditional economic powerhouse, has consistently demonstrated economic competitiveness and innovation, but faces demographic shifts and the ongoing task of balancing economic pragmatism with its commitment to liberal democratic values. To find out more about the challenges Germany is facing, check out our recent video exploring why Germany is broken, linked here. But now back to the European project. In addition to these economic challenges, the political dynamics in Europe are increasingly strained by countries like Hungary, where Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has pursued policies that critics argue undermine democratic institutions and the rule of law. Or Poland, where under the Law and Justice (PiS) party, there has been similar criticism for actions perceived as threatening the independence of the judiciary and media freedom. These political developments have raised concerns within the European Union and strained its unity. The tension between liberal and illiberal democracies in the EU underscores the complex and evolving nature of the continent's political landscape. Balancing economic prosperity with political values and principles remains a central challenge for Europe in the 21st century. But wait, what about the United Kingdom? Despite having a solid tech industry and a highly developed financial sector, it faced little productivity growth and investment. Brexit added a layer of uncertainty to the equation, making it a challenging environment for businesses. But this we will leave to another video. But back to the European Union. Amidst these challenges, there is hope. Europe learned from past mistakes, choosing investment over austerity. The next generation EU recovery package, a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, could put some regions on track for a more robust recovery. It represents a collective effort to steer the European economy back on course. Europe's startup ecosystem is also maturing, offering potential for new economic sectors and reviving productivity growth. Startups are often at the forefront of innovation, and Europe's emerging tech hubs are starting to make their mark on the global stage. However, Europe faces significant challenges that cannot be overlooked. An aging population poses a long-term threat to economic growth and social welfare systems. Budget constraints, especially in countries with high levels of public debt, limit the capacity for large-scale investments. The need for structural reforms to improve business environments and increase competitiveness remains a pressing issue. Europe's unique brand of capitalism, which often combines elements of social welfare with market-driven capitalism, poses hurdles too. Striking the right balance between social protection and economic dynamism is a constant challenge, and different countries within Europe have taken varying approaches. So, is Europe doomed to fall behind, or can it regain its momentum? The puzzle remains unsolved, but one thing's clear. Europe's story is far from over. The continent has a rich history of resilience and adaptability. It has faced challenges and crises before, only to emerge stronger and more united. If you found this video enlightening, please support the algorithm by leaving a comment and hitting the like button. And if you want to find out more about what is going on in major European economies, why not check out our video on why Germany is broken, linked here. For now, this is Living History, signing out.